Hello, folks. Hope you're having a good day and welcome to Tundra Dude 34. Well, here it is, our ride for the week, Blue Crush Metallic 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road. Now, we're going to do a separate walk-around video and look at all the features and everything, but before we get in and drive this, I figured you would want to see exactly what we're driving. This is my first time coming out to see it, and also my first time going inside with you. So let's take a look at what this thing looks like. Ooh, technology. If you're new to Toyota or anything, this is the first year of the new generation Tacoma. Beautiful truck for sure. Ground up remodel. 2.4 liter, 4-cylinder turbo. Let's take it for our first ride, see what we think about the feel of this new 2024 Tacoma. Okay, let's take our first drive in the leader of Toyota trucks and SUV and the undisputed king of the mid-size truck category. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new generation Toyota Tacoma, and we're going to be looking on a few things on this ride. First, we're going to talk about the feel of the truck, and I can tell you right off the bat, I just got in it. This is the first time I've been sitting in it. It definitely sounds like it has a 4-cylinder engine, but just going down the block a little bit, it has a lot of pickup. Just, pushing that pedal, truck goes right away, which is a cool thing. Number two, and this is a shocker. In the cockpit area, I thought it would be a lot tighter. This truck actually fits me no problem, and I'm a bigger dude, so I'm pretty happy about that. Actually, the whole interior is a lot more spacious than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot tighter in here. And number three, the technology versus the last generation of Toyota Tacoma is pretty much night and day. And that could be said for a lot of these newer generation Toyotas that are coming out, like the 4Runner, like the Tundra in 2022. It is just a completely redesigned everything, but especially the interior. First thing I like to do on these first drives is go around the neighborhood, hitting the brakes, making some turns, feeling if there's any body sway, how the brakes feel. And I can tell you right off the bat, this truck feels just as good as I thought it would, because all of these new generation Toyotas just have a different feel to them. And the reason you're seeing a Tacoma on a Tundra channel, if you are new to the channel, this is one of the most important weeks I'm going to spend with a vehicle, because the most popular question I get for all the years I've been doing Tundra Dude 34 is, do I go mid-size or full-size when it comes to trucks? Now, that is a personal question for everybody, and the answer is going to be different for everybody because it all depends on what you use your truck for. If you're someone that tows a lot, you're probably going to want the Tundra that can tow up to 12,000 pounds depending on configuration. Or if you are someone that tows less, you may want a Tacoma. This can tow up to 6,500 pounds, again, depending on configuration. But if you're someone who's going to go, say, like off-road a lot, you may want the Tacoma, because the Tacoma is a lot smaller and definitely a nimble truck off-road versus, say, a Tundra, depending on what kind of off-roading you're going to do. Now, I feel like the question, mid-size or full-size Toyota, is tougher than ever before for one main reason. The Tacoma and Tundra are closer than they've ever been. We've seen a redesign with the Tundra in 2022, and we're seeing this one in 2024. So it used to be, all right, well, I'm going to buy the Tundra because I do a lot of towing or whatever. I want the full-size truck because I get the bigger V8. But you also, there was a big difference in MPG then. Nowadays, the MPG on the Tundra is a lot better. They went down to a 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 setup versus the V8. The Tacoma's fuel mileage is always good, and it's a little bit better. This is a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder turbo, which is different from what it was last year, the last generation, which was a 3.5-liter V6 naturally aspirated. So there's a lot of questions you got to ask yourself, and I hope I could help you answer that in this week with the truck. One thing we're going to do, this is video number one. Video number two will be like a walk around of the truck, of course. And before we talk any further, let's get it out on this main road and see what it feels like with this engine and this turbocharger. It definitely doesn't feel like a Tacoma. Has a nice sound to it. Got up to speed very quickly. That was, wow, I'm impressed. Just like when I first got in the new generation Tundra, it's a completely different feel from last generation. But like I said, with this video will be the first drive, and we'll talk about how the truck feels, the handling, the braking, everything. And then the next video, we'll do the walk around. We'll talk about the pricing. We'll talk about some of the features that are in this truck. The video after that, we're going to take this truck on the MPG run, 165 or so miles that we do with all the Tundras, and see what the MPG is on the truck. And also, we will be on the highway for like 5.5 hours, so we could talk about the feel of the truck out there and, you know, see how it feels going high speeds on, you know, the road and then going back roads. And we'll have 5.5 to 6 hours behind the wheel of it then. This is just a short little ride here. But just overall, I'm very impressed with this new generation because it really is crazy how much technology I'm staring at. And I am nowhere near the top of the range when it comes to trims in Tacoma. This isn't a hybrid or anything. This is just the TRD off-road. And for you Tundra fans, there's a big difference in TRD off-road when it comes to Tacoma and Tundra. In the Tundra, you could get TRD off-road on a few different trims. In Tacoma, the TRD off-road is the trim. So that's the big difference. This is just a regular engine, not hybrid. And when I asked Toyota for the new Tacoma to test, I specifically asked for the truck that we are in today, the TRD off-road Tacoma. I didn't want the hybrid. I wanted this. And the reason is a few, actually. Number one, this is one of the higher volume trims out there. This is the one everybody wants to buy. Number two, this is the regular engine, which means the price is going to be a lot lower than, say, a TRD Pro or a Trail Hunter. That's when you're going to get up into even more insane prices. This truck, the one that I'm in right now, the sticker that comes with it, it's just under $55,000. So this is not a cheap truck. But here's where it gets fun. This is a TRD off-road. It has the 14-inch screen. It has a digital gauge cluster. It has the JBL sound system with the removable speaker. It's got the moonroof. It's got the soft text. I mean, we got a lot of stuff in here. Heated, ventilated seats. But this is a nicely loaded TRD off-road. And this is going to be the one people go after, I think. This is, again, the high volume. So I think people will spend the $55,000 on this versus going for, you know, $70,000 on the Trail Hunter or the TRD Pro for the hybrid engine. I mean, this truck is going to get you around 20 mpg, maybe a little bit more depending on how you drive it and, you know, how broken in the truck is and everything like that. But I don't know. I would most definitely buy this truck if I was in the market for a Toyota Tacoma versus some of the other trims out there. I think this is the best of all worlds. Now, this truck here, it definitely lacks some options, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, heated ventilated seats, JBL, moonroof. I mean, this truck is loaded up nicely, and it has all the capability that the Toyota Tacoma has gotten to the point of being known for when it comes to off-road prowess. I mean, like I said, it's not the mid-size king for no reason. It's not the #1 seller year after year after year because it's a bad truck. This new generation has an 8-speed transmission, again, with the new engine platform and everything. Will it take some time for everybody to get used to? I'm sure. But I remember when the Tacoma went from the 4-liter V6 to the 3.5-liter V6, everybody was not a fan of the new 3.5, and then the 3.5 became something everybody loved, and we're just in that switch again with this new engine. I think that happens all the time with all vehicles because we dealt with it in the Tundra going from the V8 to the V6, and people just get used to it. And when they get behind the wheel and they actually feel how these new platforms drive and perform, it's kind of shocking because I would never expect the Tacoma to feel as good as this, and I felt the same way when it came to the Toyota Tundra. I would never think a Tundra could drive as good and handle as good as the new generation ones. So by the end of this week, my goal is to help you answer that question: mid-size or full size. It all depends on wants and needs. It all depends on what you use your truck for. But just on this first little quick drive we did here, I will say a few things up front. I'm very impressed with the technology that's in here and the features for $54,800, I think the total price was. Things I didn't even expect. I love the new design of the dash. Everything looks high-end. You know, Toyota spends their time and money on this truck because they know this truck is a big deal. So they're going to take their time and do it right, and I think they've done a very good job. The shocking thing of this first drive is 110% the space in the cab, at least in the front seats. I haven't really dealt with the back seats yet, but the driver area, I feel completely comfortable, just like the Tundra, and I have a bunch of room to spare here. So it's a win-win all the way around. I am very pleased. We're going to drive this thing for a week and see what we feel at the end of our time with it. I can tell you the transmission shifts very smooth. It's all the same stuff when you get into these new generation Tundras, or excuse me, new generation Toyotas. The transmission is very smooth. The engine is very responsive because there's turbos on all these engines now, or you got a hybrid setup. So far, so good. We will build our pro and con list. I think if I had to pick a con just on this first drive, the engine definitely sounds like a 4-cylinder engine. But you know what makes a pro out of that? How it feels and how it gets down the road. And this thing does not feel like your classic Tacoma. This thing has a lot of power, great handling so far, and I feel very comfortable in it even after this short drive we just took. It feels amazing. It's not something you got to get used to. The brakes are fantastic, and in driving my father-in-law and being in my father-in-law's 2023 Tacoma quite often, the platform, the whole suspension, the frame, everything is extremely, extremely refined compared to that. That's not a bad ride. This just feels a lot different. It's the same thing as when we were going from the 5.7 V8s, the last generation Toyota Tundra into the new generation. The feel is like it's two completely different vehicles, completely different models. And I applaud. I like everything I'm seeing in here so far, and we shall see. A lot of pros. The con is the sound, which isn't really a big deal. And we'll go from there. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're in the market for a pickup truck, how hard is it to decide for you personally, mid-size versus full-size, and what do you use your truck for? In closing, I will say this. If you are someone who's maybe like a weekend warrior and you just use your truck to go to Lowe's or Home Depot or throw some sports equipment in the back, nothing crazy, just have a bed for when you need it. This is a 5-foot bed. This might be the truck for you. It has, pickup truck qualities without going to the full size, and it still has great drivability, great driving experience. A+ so far. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok at TundraDude34, TundraDude34 at gmail.com. I guess for this week, it's Tacoma Dude 34. Have a good day.